Hey, welcome to our technical drawing tutorials for our topic quadrilaterals, and today we are going to look at the last item in our topic quadrilaterals, inscribing a square. And we're going to inscribe a square in a triangle. That triangle is an equilateral triangle of sides 80 millimeters. We commence with our horizontal construction line. And we are going to let that horizontal construction line be any length of your choice and labeled X, Y. Then we establish our radius of 80 millimeters or 8 centimeters. They're both equivalent. So compass point goes at the 8 centimeter mark, or the equivalent 80 millimeters, and the 0 millimeter or centimeter mark on your ruler or set square. Conveniently locate our point of intersection A. Go to point A as our center and intersect our second, or construct our second arc. We can continue with the arc above point A, and so we go to that point of intersection on our line segment AY and label that point B, and we can continue here with that arc inscribed from point B as our center and point A, pencil point location, to intersect with the major arc inscribed from point B. I am darkening the arc so that we can see it. However, just one movement of the compass over your drawing sheet would be sufficient to give you the necessary construction line. It is important to continue the arc way above point B, and I want to darken that part of my arc above point B, and later you would see how important this is. Or I could basically say it as we now await my completion. By doing so, you are allowing your your working to give you what I call two birds at one strike. Your perpendicular line, when constructed at point A, will automatically intersect that arc, giving you your square, the points for your square on your line from point A and point B. Hence the reason we extend our arc and focus not just on the point of intersection but above point A and point B. We continue with the construction of our perpendicular line. That is going to be done at points A and point B as indicated earlier. A convenient radius of your choice selected, and your arcs inscribed on our line segment AX and also on our line segment AB. We do the same at point B and on our line segment BY. These two arcs gives us the points 1 and 2. Using point 1, 2. Point 1 and point 2 as our center and our radius distance 1, 2. We are now going to inscribe an arc. Okay, we could do it above. That's alright. Just don't focus on the intersection here, but rather the one that is now going to be drawn or done with the inscribed arc from point 2. The same at point 1. I'm going to try this time not to allow it to intersect with our arc drawn from point B. Then you move to point 2 using the same radius and you inscribe your second arc. These two arcs intersect each other giving us point 3. And we continue with our vertical line. You draw that line from point A through point 3 and intersecting with the arc from point B. Alright, so we go like this, and we do the same at point B. From point B through point 3 and the arc drawn or inscribed from point A. That's this arc right there. This line extended through point 3 gives us our point C and D. Having found point C and D, we then move to the next step, the construction of our triangle. Point A is found at the base, B on this side, and point C and D at the top. We go down, we join C and D, and then we label the apex of our triangle. The apex of our triangle, let's label that E. Now we move, remember we're working with construction lines, and so our object lines ought to stand out. We complete our triangle by joining E to A. And E to B. Hence forming our triangle ABE. Our next step would be to construct a perpendicular line at point E onto a line AB, or that line XY, so our line segment AB or our line XY. We could do that, or we could just bisect the angle at the apex. It is easier to bisect the angle at the apex because we don't have to worry about getting a long arc, which would be the method for constructing a line perpendicular to another at a point away from that line. Alright? And so let's just bisect our angle at the apex, and that angle should be 60 degrees. This major arc intersects our line AE at point 1 and EB at point 2. Using points 1 and 2 as our center and our radius, anything of our choice, or we can keep that same radius, we inscribe our arc inside the angle to be bisected. Both methods, the construction of a perpendicular line at a point away from a line, and that line in question would be your line XY, and the point in question, point E, will produce a 90-degree angle along the line XY, and likewise bisecting that 60-degree angle will produce that perpendicular line onto our line XY, which is also at 90 degrees. If we bisect the 60-degree angle at our equilateral triangle, we will arrive with 30 degrees, 90 degrees, and 60 degrees all in one triangle. And so we draw a line through our third point, and that intersects our line segment AB at point F. Using point F as our center, we then proceed to join point D to F, or not our center but our focus. We join point D to F, and we now join point C to F. Again, you want to bring that ruler as close as possible, and that will depend on how sharp your pencil point is. And then you draw your line joining point F to point C. These two lines, line GF and AE, intersect at point G and point H. The first side of our required square. We proceed by joining point G and point H. As close as possible and as straight as can be. And then we use parallel lines as shown previously in the video with the construction or inscribing a square in a semicircle. We align our set square with our reference line AD. We could also use AC as our reference line, so let's go to that. That's CB, sorry. Let's use CB as our reference line. Hold that set square in place. Slide your set square below in that position that will allow us to move this top set square, which has already been aligned with the reference line, in a direction towards the left of our drawing sheet to the points that are there. And so we move. Of course, you want to apply pressure onto your set square at the bottom so it does not shift, and you gently slide the upper set square to point H. At point H, we are going to draw our line through point H onto our line segment FB, and then through point G onto our line segment AF. That gives us I and J. Now that we have our required square constructed inside a triangle, an equilateral triangle, we are now going to proceed with darkening the sides of our required square. So you darken your line segment IJ. You darken your line JH. Then you darken your line GH to try as much as possible not to slide your set square over the object line. That might cause your drawing sheet to get a little bit untidy as the line smudges. And I just extended this line longer than I was supposed to. Something you need to be very careful of. Because it's an object line, after erasing it, it will begin to appear as a construction line. So we need not worry too much about that mess. And then we darken our line GI. With that done, we have now constructed a square inside a triangle, thus concluding the topic quadrilaterals. Again, if you have any questions or comments, you can send them to AutoCADalive@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to respond at the soonest possible time.